Fasten your chin strap and put your pads on. Get a grip on the bat, here comes a fastball. We ain't going one and done, we're here to last long. This the top of the standards, get ready to blast off. Alright, let's do this. Hut hut! Every Sunday afternoon, big sports fanatics coming out your speakers like a piston running with magic. Game time status good to go is automatic. Ready for the blowouts and the instant classics. Calling all the teachers, all the fathers and the mothers. Calling all the kids, all the sisters and the brothers. Dynamic high schoolers in the game like no other preseason. Game 7s, hey, y'all know we got it covered. From the finals to the Super Bowl to the World Series to the Stanley Cup final. Over here we spit it clearly. Andrew Hale and Jotham Israel coming with the hottest topics. Hey, you know what's up with sports. People wanting it, we got it. Yeah, get in the game. It's the top of the standards, man. Get in the game. It's the top of the standards. Yo, get in the game. It's the top of the standards, man. Get in the game. It's the top of the standards. Come on. Get in the game. It's the top of the standards, man. Get in the game. It's the top of the standards. Yo, get in the game. It's the top of the standards, man. Get in the game. It's the top of the standards. Come on.
Yeah, top of the standards. That's what it's about, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, season 2 is here, baby. Yes, Jotham Israel and Andrew Hale, we're back and better than ever. Yes, we got a ton of sports to talk about, as always. And yes, I can rap. I produced the song, I wrote the lyrics, and I rapped it. That is my voice. Yes, you guys better believe it. But before we get started...
All right, Drew, we are here. This is my last episode as a high school student. Well, at least as a high school student doing school work. There's 2 weeks till graduation, which is a big layoff, but whatever.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's an important event in your life. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. But right now, we don't care about school. We care about our sports, baby. And I care about this NBA playoff race. And right now, the Celtics and Knicks are playing in the crucial game. But other than that, bro, there is a lot on the line in this regular season finale. There's a lot on the line, a lot of seeds to be, left in the air, a lot of teams that are still fighting for specific spots, and teams trying to avoid the play-in. You know what I mean? A lot of things going on. What's going on through your mind, Drew?
I can't believe that we have a chance to see the Lakers against the Warriors. That's insane. That, first of all, and another thing is that the 2 teams who have hit 50 wins are the Suns and the Jazz. Insane.
Yeah. the only teams that will have 50 wins.
Would have never guessed going into the season. I knew that the Suns would be a little bit better, but this good? Mm-mm.
Yeah, no, Chris Paul. Yeah, Chris Paul is a legend of a veteran. He is probably one of the best veteran players I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look what he did with the Thunder last season. He turned them around. They had like a 0.1% chance to get to the playoffs. Look what he did.
And then looking at the team now, yeah, his impact was very evident.
It's crazy. He's definitely one of the best players. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he got a few votes for most valuable player because he's earned it. He's been the most valuable.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, you could say with Denver, without Jokic, I still have Jokic as the winner, but, you could say without Jokic, I mean, just imagine if Jamal Murray was still on the team. I think they'd still be, a playoff-worthy team. You take Joel Embiid off of the Sixers, in that conference, I think they could still make the playoffs. But Chris Paul literally took the Suns from maybe around 10th place. Because, this team was around, the bottom of the West for the past few years. You literally took them to a top 2 seed.
I can't even explain his impact that he's made. It's insane to think that they really haven't gone to the playoffs in maybe a decade, and they haven't had much success as a team overall. It's impressive what he's done.
Yeah, I can't do nothing but respect this man, and I hope he stays with the Suns a little bit longer. Because, I mean, I know with the Thunder, I mean, he wasn't really going to do all that much with that team.
Yeah. He wasn't even supposed to be there. They said they were going to trade him before the deadline. That never happened because they were playoff contenders. But I don't know. I hope he stays with the Suns. That would help him out a lot.
It looks like a pretty good fit. That backcourt, they can make a deep playoff run. But speaking about the rest of the West, man, this is dangerous. And the thing is, the Lakers can clinch the 6th spot if they win tonight against the Pelicans and the Blazers lose against the Nuggets.
That's a real chance right there. That could happen. That could easily happen.
Yeah, and then there's some stuff going on with the Clippers and the Nuggets too. Like, dude, there are so many mathematical things that can happen within the playoffs. It's insane. Like, we could still see the Battle of LA in the first round. If the Blazers beat the Nuggets, the Clippers beat whoever they're playing. I believe they're playing the Thunder. They should beat the Thunder, although they did lose to the Rockets while resting everybody, so who knows. And then the Lakers would have to win their game against the Pelicans. Then we would get Battle of LA in the first round, and Dallas is stuck on all the middle of this. They probably don't know who the heck they're gonna play. I mean, they're not gonna have home court. We know that, but oh my gosh, there's so many things to decide in the West. And then the Memphis Grizzlies and the Golden State Warriors. Look, I know they're in the play-in round, but the game they're playing today is like the play-in before the play-in.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of crazy how the playoffs are working too, because even if you lose the play-in, you still get a chance. It's interesting.
Yeah, and that's what Golden State and Memphis are playing for, because it's unbelievable. Memphis is 9, Golden State is 8. They both have the same record. Whoever wins gets the 8th seed and an extra life if they lose the first play-in game. Whoever loses is winner going home. You got to win twice to get in.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And we already know who doesn't like that idea. LeBron.
Oh, my God. Dude. Okay, I talked to my homies about this during the week. Do you understand how much slander LeBron James is going to receive if he loses in the play-in round? Not just to Curry and Golden State, but to a team potentially like Memphis or San Antonio.
I can't even imagine that. That'd be insane.
Dude, the Twitter, rest in peace. Rest in peace to Twitter.
Yeah,
because that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, every post that LeBron puts on Instagram, he has a hashtag washed to kind of like make fun of the haters who call him washed. But I don't know, if he loses this, he might get a lot of washed comments.
Yeah, dude, this could get very interesting. Number 1 seed still on the line between Phoenix and Utah. Denver still has a chance to get that, to slide down to 4 if they lose to Portland. That Portland-Denver game, look, I wish that game was on ESPN, because first of all, obviously we remember that instant classic 7-game series that they had in 2019. That was a banger. Yeah. And now these two teams meet again for, heavy playoff implications. They could meet in the first round. If the dominoes fall in the right directions.
Yeah, and that's actually a closer series than you might imagine due to the injuries on the Nuggets. Before, if the Nuggets were completely healthy, I don't see the Blazers even coming close. But now I feel like there's a chance if that actually happens.
Yeah, oh my gosh, dude. I mean, the West is going west. The West is going to west, Drew.
Sure is.
But I want to shift our attention to the East. We are tanking, and we have 1 game left. Okay, I'm not going to throw attention to that. We already know it's probably going to get the upper hand in the lottery.
Come on, Heat. Let's win tonight.
Sixers, can we just make sure we don't cap on the last day of the regular season just because you have the number 1 seed? Can you just make sure that you hand us that L number 51? and who did the Pistons play?
Heat.
Miami.
Yep.
Just channel the old days of the Dwayne Wade days when you had that playoff series. I know you have it in you to beat the Pistons. I mean to lose to the Pistons. I'm sorry.
No. Let's go with your first statement. Let's go Heat.
Oh my gosh, dude! I can't believe we are actually rooting for this. This is foreign to me. Whatever, but. Currently, the Wizards and the Hornets, they're in the same situation as Golden State and Memphis. We literally have the same situation. The 8 spots and the 9 spot have the same record. Whoever wins gets the 8 spot and an extra life. Whoever loses, you're in and go home, and you're going to die if you lose.
I still can't believe that either of those teams have really done something this year. It's impressive. They were able to make the playoffs over the Bulls. The Bulls have 2 All-Stars on their team. It's insane.
Bruh. I'm not going to foreshadow it yet, but that is a big time L by the Chicago Bulls. Like, I told my dad, because he's a Bulls fan. I'm like, Dad, y'all got Vucevic? I'm like, oh yeah, y'all gonna at least make the play-in round at the very least. What? I'm looking at this team. I'm like, what the heck happened? What happened? Wow.
I don't think anyone understands. I thought when they got Vucevic, I thought they were easily going to make the playoffs. Instead, they struggled really bad. Maybe next year will be better. Maybe they'll, gain some chemistry between the two, play alongside each other better. But this year, it's not good. After that trade deadline, it was not good.
Yeah, I was ready to call this season a somewhat of a success for the Bulls, even being in playoff contention, just sniffing playoff contention. But man, that was a pitiful way to end the season. But it is what it is. They better get ready for that draft and see what the heck they're gonna do. Keep developing players. Billy Donovan's gonna have a heck of a task in front of him. Speaking of tasks, I got to give my props to Nate McMillan of the Atlanta Hawks. He got fired by the Indiana Pacers after getting swept by the Heat. Everybody, I'm thinking, oh man, I like Nate McMillan. I think he's a good coach. I think wherever he goes, he might make a playoff team out of it. Then the Hawks fire Lloyd Pierce, who people say he's a better coach than the start indicated. And then Nate McMillan goes and takes this team's nine games over 500. Oh my gosh, dude! Shout out to the Atlanta Hawks. We get to see Trae Young in the playoffs.
I know. I don't think he expected to be an NBA head coach going into the season. I know he didn't. That was crazy. After just getting fired, that's really crazy. But what he's done has been even more impressive. When watching the Hawks earlier this season, it's crazy to think that they had Rondo on their team. They traded him for Lou Williams, which is probably what helped them a ton after the trade deadline. Lou Williams always coming off the bench, always going to be a really, really good, productive player. So I'm impressed by what I saw in the Hawks. Will they go far in the playoffs? Not sure, but what they've done up to this point has been impressive.
Yeah, and then we have to still sort out if they're going to get the number 4 seed in home court against the Knicks. I mean, and we still have to sort out if the Hawks-Knicks series is going to happen, because Miami is still floating around there. You know what I'm saying? Even though they lost to the Bucks, they're still floating around out there, and they play the Pistons, so they might fool around and win that game.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, you're looking at the Knicks and the Hawks. Okay, who's gonna win? Who's gonna lose? Because here's what's interesting: New York would have the tiebreaker, obviously, because I believe they have a better conference record. They have a better conference record as of now. But if the Hawks win and the Knicks lose, obviously Atlanta gets home court, which would be very interesting. Seeing either one of those teams with home court this year is insane.
From what I saw, I believe it was a game against the Clippers with the Knicks. I think it was last Sunday. That was impressive. I'm impressed by the Knicks. They are dangerous, especially with D. Rose coming off the bench being so productive. He scored a season high in that game. So did Reggie Bullock, the former 2 Pistons, right? It's unfortunate. They were playing the Piston Clippers, right? And then every single Piston in that game, former Piston, went off. So shout out to all the traded and free agent former Pistons. But the Knicks, they look dangerous. They look really dangerous. I would not want to see them in the playoffs, especially with Julius Randle, who is probably going to win Most Improved Player. Again, D. Rose is playing really good basketball right now. They look really impressive. I would not want to see them in the playoffs.
I don't know if Philadelphia wants that smoke yet, bro.
No, I could definitely see that going the Knicks' way. It would be a very, very good challenge, but I would be scared of the Knicks. They look really good.
Yeah, and hey, the last number 1 seed in the East got bounced in the second round, so I mean, hey, and who's to say that the Sixers aren't going to get challenged in the first round?
Yeah,
I mean, say you got to face a team like the Wizards, you got to deal with Russell Westbrook. That's no easy task. You might have to deal with Miles Bridges, LaMelo Ball, Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier. That's no cakewalk for the Sixers either. And the Celtics always have their number.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, as bad as the Celtics have been, that might be an interesting series.
Oh yeah, dude. I actually want that. I would want that to happen. I would want that to really happen. But we'll have to wait and see, man. The standings are shuffling. This is the last day of the regular season. Play-in starts Tuesday. It goes from Tuesday to the end of the week. Playoffs start Saturday. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm hyped.
Yeah, and real quick, I think the most insane storyline is the fact that Bradley Beal and Steph Curry are in a race to get the leading scorer in the NBA. It's insane. To catch Curry, Beal needs to outscore him by 23 points if Curry scores between 0 to 5. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough if Beal wants to become the NBA's leading scorer. So there's a lot riding on here today. I mean, so many things with like you said, the playoffs and scoring titles. It's insane.
What? Okay, last thing I'll say, let's acknowledge the Washington Wizards for being where they are. Because earlier this season, they were near where we were, where we are right now. You're at the bottom of the East, and I'm just like, oh boy. And then people are talking about trade Bradley Beal, give free my boy Bradley. And he's stuck with Washington. Washington didn't trade him. Beal didn't get traded. And I'm just like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. And they done took this team to the playing round, and they might take them to the playoffs if they have I think they have a great shot at doing so. This is going to be interesting. I want this team to play somebody in the first round, preferably the Sixers over the Nets. But oh baby, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, a shout out to the Wizards. It's been an impressive season. I thought they were going to be dead last.
Yeah, no, but hey, what can you say? Wizardry. All right, dude, let's shift from one postseason talk to another. Unlike the NBA, the NHL playoffs are actually in action right now. And last night we saw the Capitals beat the Bruins in overtime 3-2. That's a good introduction to the playoffs, if you ask me.
This is what the NHL playoffs are all about. Craziness. There isn't anything more, there's anything less. It's insane. Craziness is one word to describe the playoffs. Each year something insane happens, and this year is no different. I don't know if we'll see how many overtimes did we see in the first round last year? 5, 6?
Oh.
It was around there. I don't think we'll see that again, but if we do, I would not be surprised.
Still can't believe I missed that Blue Jackets Lightning game because the power went out. Whatever. But my power wasn't out to see the Capitals score that goal. Yeah, that's a very tough series to pick, man. That could go 7. I think that will go 7 because the two teams are so like rock'em sock'em back and forth. And last time these two teams met, 7 games, every game decided by 1 goal.
Yeah. If you guys haven't seen our brackets, go check them out on all of our social medias. We posted them there. You picked the Caps, I picked Boston. So we're going back and forth there. I hate Boston, but I had to switch it up.
Yeah, and even though I could easily see the Bruins winning this series. They're just a pesky team, And
yeah,
these are 2 pesky teams going at each other. We already know about Tom Wilson and the energy he brings. We know about Brad Marchand. Dude, I want to see a Tom Wilson, Brad Marchand fight.
The 2 of the most hated players in the NHL. That'd be funny. I wouldn't root for anyone. I hope they both get a double knockout. How about that?
Oh, you read my mind because I was about to ask, who would you root for? Nobody.
No one. Put them both in the box for 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. Somebody should make a poll out of that. NBC, if you're listening, you should make a poll out of that and credit me.
Yeah.
You should make a poll and ask, who would you rather see win a fight against one another? Tom Wilson or Brad Marchand? That is a good question.
That's a good idea. I like that. I think
But
as of
yeah.
right now, people would probably pick Marchand because of what Tom Wilson has done over these past few weeks. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like Marchand, he's been like consistently a hated player, but Tom Wilson has definitely had a larger spike in hatred. It's like he's hated and then he's a little less hated, and then he's really really hated.
He always does something to make people mad.
Yeah, dude. And that's just one of the series that could get heated. Obviously, we looking at the battle of your home state, the Lightning, the villain in your eyes, and the Panthers, the apparent good guys.
I had to switch it up again. I picked Tampa Bay. As much as I want Florida to win, I was not going to allow us to have the same bracket, so I had to switch it up. I picked Tampa Bay. They're a solid team, but I hope Florida wins.
Yeah, I know, right? I think Florida will win because obviously, you just said it. I picked the Panthers not just because they have home ice for once, but I shouldn't say for once. They had home ice against the Islanders and blew it. But the fact that they have home ice in this series, like you know how it just looks weird that a team that looks like the underdog has home ice.
Yeah.
This is kind of the vibes that this gives me. But I think Florida's going to pull it out, even though Kucherov might be coming back for the Lightning. I don't know. I don't know if I can trust the Lightning in terms of health. If they were fully healthy, yeah, I'm picking the Lightning. But I don't know, man. They've been beat up. Obviously, we saw what Florida did the past two games with home ice on the line. And obviously, that's a bit important if you ask me, even though they already knew they were playing each other. So yeah, dude, it's playoff time. It's time for Florida to show us what they're about. Time for Tampa Bay to see if they can, run up that title defense or if their old habits of playoff choking are going to come back.
That's going to be a crazy series. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think the most underrated series will be the Hurricanes and the Predators.
Yeah, I can see it.
I see that going 7, bro.
Oh, I know you do. And this one you said would be tough if they played each other because you said you like both teams. Obviously, you like Carolina a little bit more, but this is crazy. I picked Carolina as well. I don't see Nashville doing too much, but hey, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I said Canes in 7 just because it is playoff hockey.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and hey, last time Nashville was last in their division, conference, whatever, the last team to make it in the playoffs, they swept the Blackhawks. They went to the Stanley Cup final.
There you go.
So yeah, this could be very, very interesting. And obviously, I'm rooting for the Canes because I'm a Canes fan, but I would not be mad. Like, I wouldn't be salty if the Predators came out and even remotely swept us.
Okay, that respect for that.
Yeah. Now the West, bro, there's no denying that the Western Division has the most intrigue to it. Look, I know the Blues haven't been as good in the regular season, but I think they've started to get a little healthier, and now they have the Avalanche to deal with. That should be a very good series because obviously the Blues still have that Stanley Cup DNA in them.
Yeah, I don't know. I just see an offensive powerhouse in Colorado. I don't know, especially since Binnington has struggled a little bit this year a few times. It might be a tough series for him. I just see Colorado kind of overpowering them with their offense. I think it will be a decent series because the Blues have played pretty well in these past few playoffs, obviously winning a cup, but I don't know. Again, this could go either way. I just see the Avalanche kind of blowing them out a little bit.
Yeah, I think I might get Arizona flashbacks because obviously they dismantled the Coyotes last year. I don't know if it'll be that bad for the Blues, but I mean, Colorado, their offense is lethal. That offense is lethal.
Yeah, it is.
I honestly still can't believe Dallas beat them last year.
Yeah,
I can't believe they did that.
I couldn't believe that they even made the cup. So the Stars surprised us all.
Yeah, but they're sitting home right now, unfortunately. Get well soon. Stars fans, you guys had a great run. Hopefully you'll be in a a weaker division next year or something like that. But dude, the other Western matchup, Golden Knights and Wild, that's a bad draw for Vegas, man. Because I still think they'll win the series, but man, that's a bad draw.
Yeah, I don't know. I obviously I'm gonna pick Vegas. I'm a fan of their team, but we've talked about it, or more so, you've talked about it on our weekly occurrence of the Wild West. Okay, but you talked about the Wild quite a few times, and they're a pretty good team. I don't know too much about them. I mean, I don't think many NHL fans really do because it's the Wild, but this will be a pretty impressive series if they were to, upset. I would say upset the Knights, the Golden Knights, but I don't know. I'm still gonna stay loyal to the Golden Knights. I want to see them win it.
Yeah, and I think they're gonna win the cup too. But man, one guy to watch out for from Minnesota, Kaprizov. That dude has been nasty as a rookie. I'm like, this dude's a rookie. I obviously didn't know who he was, at the start of the season, but he's been going off, and I'm just like, okay, Minnesota got themselves a gem.
Yeah, we've seen it almost every single playoffs. There's always one person who kind of takes the league by storm and comes out on top. Binnington the other year, not many people knew who he was. He came and got himself a big old contract a few years later, so anything can happen. So,
speaking of taking the playoffs by storm, could this be the time that either Austin Matthews or Connor McDavid take the Maple Leafs or the Oilers over the top of playoff embarrassment?
Hey, those have been the best two players in the NHL, most explosive, probably similar to like Mike Trout. Connor McDavid, he really hasn't had much playoff success. He's always been one of the best, if not the best player in the NHL for the past couple of years. So I really want to see him make a run. I really do. And I know you picked Edmonton in your bracket, but again, I had to switch it up. I want to see Edmonton go far, but I'm gonna take the biggest sleeper in these playoffs, Winnipeg.
You aren't lying. They are the biggest sleeper because, the team can be good. If the Oilers lose this series, I'm going to be heavily disappointed. It's going to be classified as an upset because the Oilers are clearly the better team. But hey, I ain't got no problem with seeing the Winnipeg whiteout for an extensive period of time. You feel me?
Hey, they made a big trade earlier this season. Hopefully that helps them out in these playoffs. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We'll see. But I have them going to the Cup.
Yeah, I'm just glad that that we have finally concluded our coverage of the Montreal Canadiens regular season. Well, even though you were wrong, Drew, the fact that they're playing the Maple Leafs is so sexy to me. I just look at that series like, oh my gosh, Toronto versus Montreal. That just screams sexy.
Hey, you got an in-country rivalry.
Yeah, dude. Two of the most well-known cities in Canada. Two of the most respectable franchises in the NHL. Obviously, Original Six. Mm-hmm. Dude. Look, I'll say this. Shout out to the Canadiens for clinching a playoff spot so that we could get the North Division playoff started earlier. Because obviously, if they didn't get a point against the Oilers, which they only got 2 points out of that via 2 overtime losses, I believe. The Flames and the Canucks would still be alive, and obviously they're playing their regular season games out during the playoffs, which I think is very interesting. That's a very interesting predicament.
Yeah, this entire NHL season and playoff format is very confusing. It's like a big mixing pot of random things happening. The playoffs is confusing. The regular season during the playoffs is weird. It's interesting. I can't even wrap my head around everything that has happened.
Yeah, I hope they figure out something with the Canadian border.
Yeah.
Because obviously the deadline for the decision is like June 1st. So I hope the U.S. and Canada figure that out so we can continue with playoff hockey. All right, Drew, I want to point this out. So the Mariners went on a 5-game losing streak this week. Okay, and we almost got no hit by the Indians.
Twice.
Yeah, it was looking like, oh no, here we go again. So Drew, what happened? Where did we go? We went to Jared Kelenic, saving at least a day for us with a 3-hit game. What, 5 RBIs and a couple of doubles, a home run? Dude, this is what we have been waiting for. Oh my gosh. I don't care if we don't make the playoffs right now. I just want to see my boy Jared develop.
I think he will. What we saw in his, second, third game, he looks to be what he's made out to be. They said he's one of the best prospects in the MLB, and he showed it. His first hit being a home run. We've seen that a few times this year. Very, very interesting. Always fun. But I'm excited to see his career develop, especially with the Mariners. I think he'll be a key in their success, hopefully in the future. Maybe not. We'll see.
That trio of Kyle Seager, Kyle Lewis, and now Jared Kelenic. And maybe if Ty France stays consistent, it could be look at my chops, Drew.
Yeah, and you got a few more prospects in that Padres deal last year, so you got a lot of guys who could be up in the big leagues very, very soon.
Ooh, I'm excited, Drew. But I'm also excited to see, we could potentially see the revival of that Yankees-Red Sox rivalry, because, the Yankees have worked their way up, kind of like we expected them to. They've worked their way up out of that early season funk, and now they're top 2 in the AL East.
Unfortunately, yes. Giancarlo Stanton has played a really, really good season this year. It seems like almost every single game he hits a home run. He's explosive. Hopefully he doesn't get injured like it seems to happen every single season. Hopefully, if the Yankees want to continue to be successful, hopefully they all stay healthy, because we know how that has gone these past few seasons. So, I don't know. I could see the rivalry redeveloping. Both teams are obviously pretty good. Surprisingly, with the Red Sox as well, who were pretty terrible. I guess Alex Cora really makes a difference. But I think we may see, like you said, the rivalry come back to life.
Yeah, because obviously, there are only 2 games separating the Yankees from the Red Sox. So whenever the heck they play, in the coming future, there's actually going to be something on the line this time around. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the Red Sox have, dominated, at least in the playoffs in recent years, and they've made better runs after themselves. Actually went in and beat the Yankees in a playoff series themselves, and then won a World Series. Now, obviously, the Yankees, you can say they got cheated out of one potential ring, but dude, I'm good. I'm glad to see that back, even though nobody really likes the Yankees. The division is really tough, though. Look, everybody wants to say the NL East is the best division in baseball, which, yeah, don't confuse the best division with probably the most competitive division, because I'm not looking at the Phillies or the Mets right now as this is a team that could beat the Dodgers, that could beat the Cardinals, that could beat the Padres, that could beat the Giants. I'm not looking at them like that in a 5-game, 7-game series. No. The only team that I see coming out and potentially making a deep run is the Atlanta Braves. Yeah. Right now, they're in 3rd place. They're still trying to find their way back to, their glorious stretch of winning,
Yeah, and it's crazy because there's a lot of star power in that division. A ton of star power, and they really haven't done too much. Freddie Freeman struggled to start the season. So did Francisco Lindor. I don't know. There's so much star power, so many good players, but
record doesn't show it.
No.
Well, meanwhile, you look at the AL East. However, you got 4 teams above 500. Tampa Bay is 4th in the AL East. They're only 3 games behind the Red Sox for the division lead.
You want to know something that blew my mind? I was watching, I believe it was Blue Jays and Astros, and I was looking at all the Blue Jays lineup They all had averages over 300 for the most part, and then I go over to watch the Tigers game, and no one has an average over 300. So it's crazy to think what a good team is compared to a pretty bad team. It's insane. I was like, wow, that's what all 300 averages look like.
Here's what you can't say, right? At least for right now, the Detroit Tigers are not the worst team in baseball.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. It's crazy to think that they're ahead of the Twins of all teams. The Twins, not the Royals, not the Indians, but the Twins.
The freaking Twins. The oh my gosh, what the heck is going on in the Twins? Now they beat the Athletics yesterday, which is somewhat big. But oh my gosh, what is going on? I thought this team was supposed to be, hovering around World Series contention. They just need to win a playoff series. But now we're looking at this like, holy crap, this is getting serious.
Yeah, it's crazy. They did lose a few players like Rosario, their left fielder, to the Indians, and a few other pretty productive players for their team. But I don't think it should have shook them up to the point where they are one of the worst teams in baseball. It's insane.
Yeah, it's sad to see. Now I know the White Sox are taking a lot of advantage of that, and the thing that's scary. The fact that they're winning all these games without Robert and Jimenez. Oh boy, just imagine if they had their full lineup healthy. That would have been. Oh my gosh, dude.
I mean, I think most MLB fans should have realized this was going to happen sooner or later. I thought they were going to win the division last year. Looks like they're going to win the division this year. Being a Tigers fan, I guess I'm not mad at it. I mean, it's been a while since the White Sox have seen success. So, congratulations, White Sox, for finally being decent. I mean, they have all the tools to be decent. They had the 2019 AL batting title winner in Tim Anderson. They had last year's MVP in Jose Abreu. There's no reason they shouldn't be at the top of the division.
Yeah, dude, a lot of interesting division races early in the season. And I mean, I mentioned the near no-hitters. There were like 2 different no-hit bids that got snapped. Dude, they are literally flirting with that record that I talked about earlier. This is getting scary, dude. They really must have looked at those home run rates like,
Yeah, they should hire you for the MLB Tonight pregame show before Sunday Night Baseball, because they talked about that exact record right after we recorded. I was watching the pregame show to Sunday Night Baseball, and they were talking about the record and how it may be broken this year, and they were essentially saying the same things that we were saying, how it was kind of a pitcher's game back then. The offense isn't as crazy, and how the offense is really bad this year. So I think if MLB, if an ESPN needs to hire someone, it should be us.
Yeah, dude. And I would love to fill in for Matt Vasgersian when he does get through with Sunday Night Baseball, because I know people are a little bit inconsistent with the Matt Vasgersian praise and criticism and stuff like that, and there's just a lot of things. I now personally I like Matt Vasgersian.
Yeah, me too. I enjoy listening to Sunday Night Baseball. It's fun.
Yeah. Now I don't know about A-Rod. How he's perceived amongst other people. Like last time I was watching the Sunday Night Baseball game, it was the Phillies against the Braves. Obviously, this was last week. Somebody, I think it was JT Realmuto, he got hit in the buttock by a ball, and Matt Vasgersian's like hit him right on the good side of the buttock or something like that, and then he backtracked and was like, "Is that really the best spot to get hit?" And A-Rod said, "When you have a big butt like mine, yeah." I'm like, whoa, dude, I'm literally on the computer, and A-Rod just says that. I'm like, okay.
I disliked A-Rod as a player. I think most people did. He played for the Yankees, obviously. In the PED situation, I did not like him whatsoever. But as an announcer and a color commentator, I honestly really enjoy listening to him talk about baseball. I think he's a really good color commentator. I definitely like him a lot more than I did as him as a player. So,
yeah, I agree. And then there's so many players that I would be interested to see in the booth when they retire. Oh my gosh. Imagine Freddie Freeman and Anthony Rizzo in the booth.
That would be hilarious, to say the least.
Oh my gosh. Now I wish the players could do play-by-play. That would be dope. Yeah. Oh, that would be so dope. But it is what it is. Baseball is lit. Good to see it back in action, and good to see that COVID hasn't screwed anybody over like it did last year, especially with the Marlins and the Nationals and stuff like that. Good to see teams consistently playing ball games.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, Drew, let's get to MVPs and LVPs. I'll go first with my MVP. My MVP is the Chicago White Sox. Bro, Luis Robert, down, injured, out for maybe the rest of the regular season. Eloy Jimenez, gone by spring training, probably out for the regular season, if not the entire season. This team still is at the top of the AL Central and flirting with the best record in baseball. And their pitching, their staff has been lethal. I'm looking at this team and I'm just looking like this team is kind of beat up and they are still dangerous. Billy Hamilton's stepping up. Dylan Cease is stepping up. You got all these guys stepping up. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this team is nice. And the fact that they have a division lead is impressive for me. This is very impressive. I like what I'm seeing from the White Sox. I think they will win the AL Central eventually, but man, I got to give my MVP to the Chicago White Sox.
Hey, yeah, I think you're 100% right. I think they have a really good chance to win the Central. I think they should. I think they're really talented. I think they're a really good team.
Yeah, now who is your MVP? Because there are a lot of choices.
Yeah, my MVP is interesting. The new inductee into the NBA Hall of Fame, Ben Wallace. Big Ben Wallace, one of the most underrated players of all time. Let me just read his accolades, and then you can tell me if you think he's Hall of Fame worthy. Undrafted, first of all. Undrafted. 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. Okay? Mm-hmm. He was literally the heart and soul of that 2004 Pistons championship team. Right? 2-time rebounding champ. 1-time block leader. 5-time all-defensive first team. 3-time all-NBA second team. That's a Hall of Fame career.
Gosh. That's Hall of Fame. Wow. Well, Drew, I guess the streak is over. Because wasn't there like a statistic that I think we talked about this on multiple occasions. Wasn't there like there was something special about that 2004 Pistons team? Like there was not a single Hall of Famer on the team.
There wasn't a former MVP. There was no MVP. There were no I wouldn't say Hall of Famer, but there was no MVPs. There were no former MVPs. No one really.
No All-Stars.
No All-Stars. I mean, that year they had the entire All-Star lineup, but there's no former future MVP, or I guess future MVP, but there was no MVP on that team. They were kind of almost underrated to the entire NBA, compared to every other player. No one was really like Kobe Bryant. There was Shaq. There's so many players in the league back then that were MVP type players, but the Pistons had none. They were able to dethrone Shaq and Kobe, literally because after the season, that relationship between Shaq and Kobe kind of ended when Shaq left. But it was impressive what they did, and Ben Wallace was the true defensive giant for that team. Helped them win it.
That's insane, dude. Yeah, shout out to Ben Wallace. You definitely deserved it. That's a great career, man. Yeah, y'all also got he's on one of the OG 2K covers.
Yeah, and he owns, I guess, the former Pistons G League or G League affiliate. I believe he owned the Grand Rapids Drive. They are no longer with the Pistons. They are now with the Nuggets, but he owns that team, so he's doing big things now. Yeah,
that's a great career right there, man.
Yeah.
Now, shifting over to LVPs, I'm going to stick with the NBA. I'm going to hand this LVP to the New Orleans Pelicans, man. I did not expect them to be like a major force to be reckoned with. I expected Zion to have a much better year, which he did. But, man, this team blew 14 different double-digit leads. Oh, my gosh. You cannot make the playoffs if you do not close out those games.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude. Dude, literally. They are like 11 games below 500 right now. If they would have won obviously you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. But say they won and closed out all of those double-digit leads, they would be in the mix with Dallas and Portland. But they're not, because they choked so many times. And I'm watching this team implode in some of the most unique ways. I won't say unique, but in every casual way possible. You let a team hit a three near the buzzer to send it to overtime, and then you implode in overtime at the MSG. I'm just like, dude, this team. I'm sorry, they're 9 games below 500, so they would actually have an even better record if they closed out these games. Oh my gosh, and they would at least be in the play-in, because they were only 2 games behind the Spurs for the last play-in. If they closed out at least 2 of those 14 double-digit leads, they would have made it.
Hey,
but nope, they didn't.
That's a good choice. That is a good choice. The Pelicans were very disappointing. I felt that they had a good team. They definitely got a few acquisitions in the offseason and at the trade deadline, but they were not able to piece those players together. I don't think Lonzo will be back next season, so they'll definitely have to find a new point guard, whether that be in the draft or in free agency. So,
come to Orlando, Lonzo.
Another point guard.
Hey, brother. If we're not going to get Cade, we can at least get somebody who is healthy.
No, okay. I respect it.
I don't know, man. I'm starting to lose faith in Markelle Fultz, unfortunately, but we'll see. I mean, hopefully he can have a healthy season, but we'll see. But yeah, dude, who is your LVP?
I already mentioned this team earlier, but it has to be the Twins. They've had some postseason struggles, but they've gotten there these past few years, and this year it'll be a tough road to get back to where they were last season and the season before. They are pretty terrible. I did not expect them to be below the Detroit Tigers. I knew that the Tigers would maybe be a little bit improved, but maybe they'd be ahead of the Indians or the Royals, but not ahead of the Twins. I thought the Twins were, I don't know if they would have, if I guessed them to win the division. I definitely think the White Sox were going to win it before the season, but I knew the Twins would be right behind them. That does not happen. And the Twins have been quite possibly one of the biggest disappointments in this MLB season.
Oh, no, the biggest disappointment in this regular season, because I expected them to slug their way back into the wild card round or something like that.
Yeah.
And with the way the teams like the Royals and the Mariners and the Astros and the whole AL East minus the Baltimore Orioles, the way those teams are playing, I don't know, Drew. They might have their work cut out for them, and they're going to have to pull out a lot of brooms this summer if they want to do something. But that's a big fat L.
Yeah. They were once the Minnesota Bombers. They were continuously hitting or leading the MLB in home runs and whatnot. Now they are the opposite of that. Nelson Cruz struggling. Every single player on that team is struggling. It's a tough situation for fans of the Minnesota Twins.
All right, dude. Let's get to some trivia now. Last week, I asked the question, how many teams in this year's Stanley Cup playoffs have never won the Stanley Cup?
I think I said 4 minus or 8 minus 4 or 4 minus 8, but let's go with 4.
You were so close. You were so close. It's 5.
Oh.
It's 5 because you got the Minnesota Wild, the Vegas Golden Knights, the Nashville Predators, let me see who else, the Florida Panthers, and then the Winnipeg Jets.
That was. Hey, are we counting expansion franchises?
No, I'm counting.
I know. Because the
that
Jets,
was way
obviously moved, but you know.
Yeah, that would have been way too much for me to. I mean,
I understand. I get it. I was close. Almost.
Very, very, very close.
Eight.
You used the 8 method in another way, and it almost worked.
I need to continue to do that. I should have done it a few weeks ago when you talked about the no-hitters, but I guess that just proves I should continue to use my favorite number 8. But
in some way, shape, or form.
And
now for your trivia question, what you got for us?
And since I just talked about Ben Wallace, how many undrafted players have been inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame?
Come on, man. You know I don't know this one off the top of my head. I mean, that's the point. But I have no idea. I don't know. Do you? Is it a number like, I don't know. I don't even know how many players in the Hall of Fame overall.
I don't know if I can give you a hint for this one. I don't know if I can.
No, don't. I'm going to go ahead and say 69.
Okay. You may be close. It may not be. I guess we'll see.
Wow. What a question. But yeah, Drew, we definitely did talk about a lot today. And, look, playoff races are around. And, not to mention, I also meant to say this earlier, but, bro, spring football is alive. And I'm not talking about the spring league, even though that's provided some football as well. I'm talking about the FCS National Championship that's on right now as we are recording.
Yeah, I heard about some upsets in that league, but football's back. Football should be back quite soon, faster than we know. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I'm also I've watched some of the playoff games. They were close. Like, I know the team called Sam Houston. They've won all their games by one possession, and their defense, all 3 playoff games, came up with the big stop at the end of the game to win. In the first playoff game, the team, their opponent was at the 9-yard line, down 7. They stopped them. Then against North Dakota State, I believe they intercepted North Dakota State in the that was the other game. They stopped North Dakota State in the red zone and preserved a 4-point lead with their defense in the red zone. And then they turned around, down 21.5 against James Madison, I believe. Down 21. They outscored them 35-3 in less than a quarter. And then their defense held up, and the kicker missed a game-tying 51-yard field goal. They go to the national championship game. And so Sam Houston, I like that team, but I'll say this about South Dakota State. Their quarterback, Mark Gronowski. You remember when I broadcasted a playoff football game for HF? Mm-hmm. We played Neuqua Valley. Mark Gronowski was the starting quarterback for Neuqua Valley. And now he's at South Dakota State as a freshman in the national championship game. They're comparing him to Trey Lance. And I'm just like, whoa, wait a minute. Because I think the only players in FCS history to win 3 specific rewards as a freshman is Mark Gronowski and Trey Lance. And I'm like, oh, this is an interesting development. So can I say that I potentially broadcasted a game in high school for the number, maybe a top 10 overall pick in the 2025 NFL draft?
That would be crazy. That's impressive stuff, though.
Oh yeah, dude. Good times, man. All sports are clicking.
Yeah, man. And hey, Jonathan. Same time next week.
Oh yeah, you already know, man. All right, guys. If you enjoyed this episode, give us that like, comment, subscribe on YouTube if you're watching there, and then give us that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or whatever listening or streaming device you're using to watch Top of the Standings. Man, I'm tongue twisting myself. And then give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, the Big 3. And then go check out our website, Top of the Standings. This has been episode 36. My goodness. We'll see you guys next week. Playoff Mayhem is here. Peace.